Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification button so you get a notification every time DStyleBoxing comes on live. Right, as I promised, here I am again. So I'm going to talk about Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. Okay, so let's go to talk about that fight. I know a lot of you don't like to are quote unquote tired of talking about it, but you're still talking about it. Okay, here we are. Let me first address the middle of the road people. Okay, let's. The time to be middle of the road is over. All right, it's that time has come and passed. More than enough evidence is out there, okay, to have a verdict here. And to me, it's clear as day. But leaving all that aside, right? You know what I'm talking about, the people just saying, like they just want to say something, but like they really don't have a stand. You know, like, I don't care where the fight happens, man. I don't care about all that. Just make the fight happen. Wherever it happens, but it's got to happen. Like, well, then you're not contributing anything to the conversation, right? Like, just sit down, right? If you have nothing to contribute, sit down, right? Saying that I just want to see the fight happen, I don't care how it happens, just make it happen. It's like, I mean, come on. Like, what does that even mean, right? But anyway, look, this fight, and I was saying this before it was popular to say it, right? I've been saying this for a while. And it's the same consistent thing I've been saying. Notice that what I've been saying has been consistent. I haven't changed what I'm saying depending on what Wilder's promoter said or what Wilder said. And if Wilder said this, now I'm going to say that. No. I've been saying the same thing. And this is my stance, right? If the fight happens in England, I'll take it. All right? You see, I'll take it. Like, I'm not going to be against it if it happens in England. Right? However, look, I'm not one that likes to sit down and talk about the business side of boxing. A lot of you seem to not understand nuance, right? And I can't, like, just by definition never mention the business side. You know, it's not the way it works, right? As a fan, I need to be vocal about wanting to see this fight. And I need to be vocal about the people that are trying to prevent this fight from happening. Right? Anyone who tries to prevent this fight from happening is my enemy. Right? Not in a very serious way, but it's the best way I could describe the situation to you. Right? If you or anyone is doing everything in their power from preventing this fight from happening, you are my enemy. All right? So let's look at the situation, right? Let's look at the facts. First of all, there is no reason why disqualifying the fight from happening in the U.S. should be an option, right? So for you guys in the fence that are saying, I don't care where it happens, just make it happen. I don't want to talk this business bullshit. Just because you don't want to side with Wilder, okay, and the side that is right in the situation, right? Because a lot of you guys that are in the middle of the road, I know that if Wilder was clearly in the wrong, you would be, okay, all over Hearn and Joshua's nuts, but they've given you no ammunition to take their side. So that's why you're being middle of the road, right? But for you guys saying that, by definition, if the promoter and the fighter, being Joshua and Hearn are saying, no way, America, no way, no how, it ain't going to happen there, no way. Then they're not following exactly what you're saying. If you're saying make this fight happen, and I just want to see it happen, I don't care about the business, this, that, and third. Well, they're the ones that are already causing a huge, a huge roadblock for the fight happening. You can't just say, by definition, we're going to rule it out. All right? What if there's a purse bid and Wilder wins the purse bid? What then? I mean, it's absolutely insane to rule out, the United States, where all the biggest fights have happened in. That is crazy, right? I mean, that's insane. That's like reading a... Anyway, let's move on. Look, if you take this fight and put it in England, it's going to make money, right? It's going to make money. It's not going to make the type of money that Joshua and Hearn want, right? So what they're doing is they want to give Wilder a so-called guarantee of $12.5 million, right? So they could make the rest of the money. Now the counteroffer here is, well, how about I give you, Joshua, $50 million guaranteed, and we could talk about making this fight happen. And that side, and the other side is saying, no way. Really? There's no way you could still be on the fence here when one individual is on tape, on camera, saying, give me the $50 million and I'll fight you, right? He literally said, if they really think it's a fight worth $100 million, give me the $50 million and I'll fight you. That's what he said. Word for word, it's what he said. Maybe not, maybe not verbatim, but you know what I mean. How is it possible that this dude could say that, knowing full well that the proposition was it's worth $100 million if you do the fight in the United States of America? This is where you make the fight happen. All right? You can't realistically expect one side or the other to just leave a shitload of money behind unless there's an ulterior motive here. Right? You just can't expect that. That is absolutely asinine and insane. Right? Many of you are dumbfounded and can't come close to comprehend how it's possible how is it possible? Like the fight will make $100 million. Like you find it impossible. Number one, right? They got the money. They got Joshua's $50 million. They got the money. All right? What he asked for, they have it. All right? Like even the mafia, if the mafia says, give me $50 million or I'm going to kill your kid. All right? Like, I don't even know. That's not how Italians talk. But anyway, you give them the $50 million, your kid's going to live. When they do ransom and shit, like when the fucking narcos do, hold people for ransom over there in South America, if you come up with the money, all right, your kid's going to live. Anthony Joshua's offered $50 million to have a boxing fight. Money that he asked for, money that he proposed knowing full well that the context behind the $100 million is that the fight would have to be in the United States of America. Knowing that full well. First it was, it's not a serious offer. It's a troll offer. The offer's not, he don't got the money. Wilder don't got the money. It's all he don't got the money. Like now they're not arguing that they don't got the money. Now they're not saying it's not a serious. Now they're saying, well, it has to be in England. That's where the money's at. Because why? Because you're fighting stadiums? Is that why? You guys can't fall for that little trick now. You just can't do that. Don't do that. Right? The biggest gates in boxing history were not in stadiums. You don't have to have the fight in a stadium. Right? And by the way, every time I do one of these videos, somebody has to come out and say, I don't like the fights in Vegas. Vegas is kind of stale. And man, I'm not asking for you guys' opinion about what do you think the environment is in Vegas. And, I don't like the environment in Vegas that much either. Right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making this fight happen. That's what I'm talking about. Now, with that said, let's look at this two ways. Way number one. Let's say the fight doesn't make the $100 million that Wilder's team and myself and many others believe it would make. Let's say it doesn't make that, right? One, you would have bragging rights. You would come out here, I see, we told you. The place to make it was UK. UK is where it's at. You guys were wrong. You can make wall-to-wall, back-to-back, non-stop videos talking shit about how the fight flopped and the MGM Grand Arena was empty and nobody was there. And, there was like 2 dudes in the crowd and the fight only made like $5 million and only like 3 people saw it on Showtime and HBO or only like 10 people bought it on pay-per-view and, like this apocalyptic scenario, right? Now, Joshua would still get his $50 million because that $50 million is guaranteed. Al Heyman will lose a lot of money, right? Because of that loss of money, right? Wilder might have to be forced to sign with another promoter now. It will be the fall of PBC. Showtime will be like, wow, we're never going to take another risk like that again. They might, you know what I mean? That should make you guys happy, right? And then if you really believe in your guy and you believe he's going to win, I mean, it's a great scenario for you. You get to brag that you were right. Your guy wins. You can say we're going to win anyway. You could say, see, you idiots, we should have done it in the stadium, right? Right? Well, what you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. Or, number 2, numero dos, the fight that's close to or surpasses what it's projected to make. All right? So, not only, even if they don't make that money, Joshua's still going to get paid. He's still going to get the money he asked for. The problem for you guys is that the fight is going to generate big money. It is. So let's look at it this way, all right? If you're an Anthony Joshua boxing fan that lives in England, you guys know this and we all know this. You're going to watch this fight, whether it's in England or whether it's in the United States. And you're going to pay the same amount of money for it on pay-per-view. That's just the reality. That's number one. You're not going to lose any money because it's happening in the U.S. And I don't get what you don't get in your thick skulls about that. All right? That's why Haddon wasn't like, oh, Mayweather, I could fight in the stadium. Let's go fight in the stadium in Manchester. Like, no. He knew that Vegas was the place to make the fight, right? He knew that. He wasn't playing around. Now, I don't know how many will travel from England to the U.S., but it's going to be a good amount. Let's say 5,000. that are going to go from the U.S. or from UK all the way to the U.S. to see Joshua fight. They're going to pay for the fight. The 60,000, stadium. Okay, 60,000 people in the stadium. Ooh. Most of those people that are like in the nosebleeds and all that, they're going to pay the same amount of money to watch the fight on pay-per-view in the UK, right? Some of those people will be traveling to the US, and some will be at home watching it on TV. That's just the truth, right? Now, leaving that aside, because that already sounds unfair, right? Well, so what? Well, then the fight should be here then. You do it in the US, there's going to be a site fee, all right? There's going to be a site fee assessed to the fight. A casino's going to put big money to host the event, to host the fight. And on top of that, they're still going to be able to sell tickets to have a gate. The casino just wants people there because people are going to gamble, right? You're going to have people from the UK gambling. You're going to have people from, you're going to have a lot of people putting a lot of money in this fight in Vegas. So you have the casino, site fee that's going to be put down, right? Look, the casino site fee is a reason Vegas took over Madison Square Garden as the mecca of boxing, right? Do I still wish it was in New York? Sure, right? But it's not. Moving on, all right? The tickets. Now, look, it's not going to be in a stadium, all right? It's going to be in an arena. That's where the fight's going to take place. Let's say 10,000 or whatever it is are going to be there. If you do it at T-Mobile Arena, more people will fit, right? But I could guarantee you this, and mark my words, right? That gate is going to surpass, right, the Klitschko-Joshua gate. If it happens in Vegas, it's going to surpass it. And if it doesn't surpass it, it's going to come very close, right? So you got the money from there. And then you do it on pay-per-view in the U.S. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Aha, you can't do it on pay-per-view. Nobody even knows who Wilder is. Well, first of all, more people know who he is than Joshua in the U.S., but put that aside. It doesn't have to do the 1 million pay-per-view buys you guys think it has to do, right? But can it come close to that? Yes, it can. All right? Yes, it can come close to that. But you need these two guys in the U.S. to promote the fight. I'm sorry, being on Sky TV is not going to help the fight much. It just isn't. Right? So what you got to do, you got to be in the U.S. on First Take, on Undisputed, even though I don't like those shows. But you got to go on those shows. On the morning shows and the late night shows. On Saturday Night Live. Many people that haven't watched heavyweight boxing in years are going to watch this fight. They're going to see it. And HBO and Showtime are going to want a piece of the pie. They're going to put up money for this. They're going to put up money. If the fight sells about 300 to 500,000 pay-per-view buys in the U.S., it's a success. You can't get that if you make the fight in England. You can't get the site fee if you make the fight in England. Right? You just can't. Those are two markets you're not tapping into. You guys are also not taking into account the amount of money that we spend on pay-per-view here. It's almost 3 times, if not more, than what you pay for the pay-per-views over there in the UK. It's almost a 3-to-1 ratio. So 350,000 buys here it's practically equivalent to 1 million buys over there. You guys are not taking that into consideration, right? This is the place to make, here in the US, it's the place to make the fight. If you want to maximize the money that is made in the fight. Now, if you want to buy all this horse shit that, oh, it's not about the money, it's about the fans and this, that, and the third, okay? If you want to buy all that horse shit, which I know deep down, I know you don't buy it, okay? Right? Deep down, I know you know that the fight makes perfect sense in the U.S., right? Now, if you say, look, I know it would make more money, but, man, I like fights in stadiums. Why? Why do you like fights in stadiums? You guys mind if I ask you why? And if you're watching an archive, can you put in the comment section? And please don't tell me something vague like, oh, the atmosphere. What does that have to do with anything? What? Oh, okay. Like, go to a concert, right? If you care about the atmosphere, okay. go to WrestleMania. Go to SummerSlam. Go watch WWE. Why is it so important that this fight happens in a stadium where about 60% of the people there can't even watch the fight? They have to watch it up in the monitor. What's the purpose of the stadium? The stadium phenomenon, okay? You see, back in the day, before internet was big, obviously, way before the internet, but even television, having it in the stadium made sense because you wanted to maximize the amount of eyeballs watching the fight, right? So like for Jack Dempsey fights, it would make, big stadiums so more people buy a ticket to watch the fight live, okay? Because the gate was everything in those days. And the fight got recorded and people saw it later. It wasn't like nationally broadcasted, okay, on TV. But now that eyeballs, you could watch it on your phone, right? You can watch it on your computer. You can watch it on your TV. You can watch it on the go. You can watch it at home, in the stadium, in the arena. But it's a couple tens of thousands more is not impressive. Millions and millions more around the world is impressive. All right? That's just the reality. So that's why stadiums were such a big deal back in those days. All right? But the stadium phenomenon, there used to be a time where if it just wasn't a good fight, they would put it in a stadium, okay, to make it seem like an extravagant, like this great event, right? When De La Hoya fought here in El Paso, I already forgot the dude's name, okay? That's how irrelevant the dude was, right? He fought some bum shit here in El Paso, Texas. The opponent was trash, right? So they put the fight in the stadium, okay, to distract everybody from the fact that the fight was trash. Oh, look, there's 50,000 people in the Sun Bowl. So the fight lasted, like 1 or 2 rounds? It was a joke of a fight. Until this day, I know people that I couldn't even see the fight. It was too far. You're watching in the stadium. Like, what are you doing? And the Sun Bowl is nowhere near as big as the stadiums that Joshua fights in. How could they possibly watch the fight? What, do you take binoculars to the fight? Like, what is this? Right? Bob Arum, for a while, he was doing like boxing events at stadiums and using the stadiums, like, as a gimmick. Right? That's what he was doing. He was admitting to it. Oh, we got all these great stadiums. We really got to show off our champions in stadiums that are historic. Like, just shit like that, man. It was just for showcase fights. You had your big fights here and there and big domes and stuff like that. Yes. Right? Of course you did. But the reality is, for the most part, in recent times, all right, and a lot of you guys may want to sit down for this if you're over there from England and Europe, right? And please don't take it personal. The whole stadium thing, all right, this infatuation with stadiums, all right, it's like in recent time, it's like a European thing, right? This whole like this the WWE type entrances and all that. That is a European thing, right? Like making it seem like an event and like woo, like like it's treating like it's just like a volleyball game they're about to watch or something, right? This, I mean, it's we're about to watch two gladiators go to war, right? And they present a thing like we're about to like watch a dance off or some shit, right? Like it almost looked like they were going to have a lip sync contest, right? The last time I saw Joshua walk out. So again, why do you want the fight? Like, what's so important? Look, I understand about an atmosphere, okay? I understand about not wanting to see fights in a little ballroom with 10 people in there, okay, and a bunch of empty seats all over the place. I get that. But what's wrong with an arena with 10,000 people? What's wrong with that? That's perfectly fine. That's a perfectly reasonable crowd, okay? They can all watch the fight, and it's a good size arena. You don't need 60, 80,000 people in an arena to watch a boxing fight. You just don't need that. So why? Why do you watch the fight at a stadium for? What's the appeal? Especially like on TV. What's the appeal? What do you get out of it? What does it do? Like what? First of all, it's not louder. Oh yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's not. It's not louder. I've seen Metallica in a field and I've seen Metallica in an arena. I know which one was louder. Okay. I've seen sporting events in an arena. I've seen them in a stadium, right? Now, unless you got like a specialized stadium like the Seahawks one, right, where the sound is made to come back down, for the most part, the sound just goes up in the air, right? So it's not louder. It's not. It's just a gimmick. Now, whether you like the gimmick or not, that's perfectly fine, and that is completely your choice, right? It's completely your choice. But you have to admit, it's a European thing. Europeans are infatuated with this whole stadium thing. It's like a trending thing over there. Like Ricky Hatton was fighting in stadiums, and like a bunch of dudes fighting in stadiums. Like I'll hear about fighters. Oh, they're fighting in stadiums. Like Ricky Burns, wasn't he fighting in stadiums? Like Kawasaki was fighting in stadiums. It's a European thing, right? That's just the way it is. Okay, I'm just telling you. So when Eddie Hearn uses like the numbers, oh well, Wilder only had 6,000 people in his fights, and we had 60,000, so that tells you everything. No, it doesn't tell you everything. Sit down, right? Are you kidding me? It's a different culture. It's a different setup. At the end of the day, right? Let's make this fight happen. I'll take it in the UK, but let's be honest. It's worth a lot more money here in the US. It's worth a lot more money. If Joshua wants those 50 million plus, it's got to happen here in the US. Right? Now, Joe Lopez just said, well, it does look like a good atmosphere. Yeah, okay. I mean, look, tweets their own. To tweets their own. And like if you like, that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that. No, don't get me wrong. But like it doesn't make it better just because they're singing and all this other shit. Okay. It's an arena in the US, right? Like at least me, when I go to boxing fights here, I haven't got to a boxing fight in a while, but like even when I went to like one of the last few Friday night fights that there were, okay, I went to watch Escalante fight. Well, back when Escalante was still pretty decent, right? He fought some dude from Juarez over here. And when you walked into that arena, right, there was just no bullshit going on, right? It's like everybody just sat down in their fucking seats When fighters came out, they would stand up, and when there was action in the ring, everybody stood up. You know, and yes, shit got crazy when they would throw down, when they would thump, right? But it's a different feeling. You know, I don't want to go to a boxing event and sing along, and that's not why I go to a boxing event, right? That's me, right? To each their own. You know, like I want to buy my beer. Okay, I want to go sit my ass down, drink my beer while I watch some boxing, and I'll stand up when the shit's getting like it's getting real in the ring, right? You know that's just the way it is. I'm not gonna be standing up singing along, and it's just not gonna happen. That's just not me. Okay, to each their own, but in the United States, it's just different. Okay. All right. Let's look at the. That's the other thing. Um, Here in the U.S., per the commission, you are forced to release numbers. Okay, how much the fighters are made, how much you sold in ticket prices, like just everything. Especially if it's in a casino, you got to release all that information, right? Because there's gambling going on, so all this stuff has to be out there and out in the open. Okay. I've been asking this for a while. Well, what was the gate for Parker versus Joshua? I don't know. Maybe Beeb knows in the chat. What was the gate? Because I think that's the number that matters. The gate, right? I know a lot of people be like, no, it's not. Yes, yes, yes. That's the number that matters. The gate is the number that matters. All right. Period. Let's see here. T. Scott. Well, they're offering Wilder $12.5 million. I see Joe Habib. Um, 55 bucks for tickets to Joe Habib. That's what I'm saying. They're going to buy the fight on pay per view. We got their money. That's what dudes in the UK don't understand. We already got your money. Like if the fight happens in the US, we already got the UK money. Right? 10.5 million. All right. Which is good, right? That's a good gate. But you guys are telling me, right? First of all, the casino site fee might surpass that. Just that alone might surpass that. Right? And for those that say, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that people like the casino knows there's going to be traffic in Vegas. Okay, they know they're going to make a shitload of money with. They're going to take people. They're going to make that money back when people lose gambling and shit. Okay, they don't just gamble on straight up winners and straight up losers. They gamble on all types of shit and the undercards. And while they're in Vegas, they're gambling on other shit there in the NJ and Grand or wherever they make the fight. Right. But I do want to do this really quick. Hopefully he can. But Joe Habib, can you come on right now? Okay. Can Joe Habib come on live right now? Is what I want to know. Can you come on live to DStyleBoxing channel right here? Live and uncut. Right? It's been a long time since I've done a live stream with Joe Habib. I just want to know if Joe Habib can come on live. And he says yes, right? I was about to start a chant. There's only one Joe Habib. But you know. Hey, Joe, do me a favor. What's your email, bro? What's your email? There's only one Joe Habib. Well, in the meantime, I'll send it to your Google. Wow, what the hell's going on? Well, this might work. Bear with me, guys. The perks of going live. Trying to find you, B, but Hey, can you post your email? Yeah, I need an email, man. I don't know what the hell's going on. When I put beating the odds with Beeb here on the send invite, it doesn't do anything. There we go. Even though that 10 million, I mean, we still don't know if it really brought up that money, but well, I don't know. We'll see. Right? The link has been sent. Right? The link's been sent. You know what? Let me make sure. I think I put Gmail. Hold on. Who uses Hotmail nowadays? What would we get? Joe Habib on here? Oh, yeah, I got it. I sent it to him. I hear you, bro. You there?
Yeah, I'm on. Can you hear me?
I could hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful. You know, the whole thing is, this is going to be a great, great historic event. It's going to be the first time in a long time that you're going to have a unification bout. So why would you not want the fight to be as big as it can be? Why would you not want the potential to have 500,000 United States customers purchase the fight on pay-per-view at $80 a pop? Why would you not want to put it in Vegas, where the average ticket price will be $4,000, as opposed to the average ticket price being $2,000 or $1,500?
Well, how much? I mean, how much are those nosebleed tickets? I mean, let's be honest.
I checked the ticket pricing, and they were like $55. The cheapest seat was $55 for Klitschko Joshua. The cheapest seat for Canelo Golovkin was $300. So do the math. I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors. Okay, you put 90,000 people in an arena, but you're generating an $11.5 million gate. I mean,
which is good. I mean, it is good, but
not bad. But I mean, you could do this. You could do double that with 16,000 seats at the T-Mobile Arena.
Right.
So what does that mean? Okay, everyone's screaming and yelling. That's great. I can go to a club in a crowd and everyone can scream and yell, and I can hear people acting crazy. I can go to Times Square New Year's Eve and get the same effect. but the thing is this. You can't see the fight. You can't see the fight. And the majority of the people in the UK are going to purchase it on pay-per-view anyways, because the fight will probably do 1.5 million buys in the UK. So, the majority of people are going to be watching it on pay-per-view. So I just, Eddie Hearn is saying that he wants to do smart business. He wants to get into the American market. And I honestly don't even think this is Eddie Hearn right now. I think Eddie Hearn doesn't care if the fight's in the United States. I think this is all Anthony Joshua, to be honest with you. I think that he's concerned about coming to the United States and fighting Wilder. I think that, I'll be honest with you, I think he has doubt. I mean, obviously every fighter has doubt in the back of their mind, but they try to hide it. They try to push it way back deep in the back of their mind. And they want to convince themselves and be confident that they can win. But he says a lot of things that sound very sketchy. Like, he's concerned about judges. He's concerned about a referee. Really?
These are all things that can be resolved.
Absolutely. I mean, they could get neutral judges. They don't have to use American judges.
Okay, well, we're going to get no judges from the UK, no judges from the US. Problem solved.
And then he's concerned, well, I don't want to do all the press tours that are required when you fight in the United States. so he's acting like, you know, he's going to be sparring one day, and they're going to come to the gym and pull the headgear off him and go, "Hey, come on, man, we got to do a press conference right now. You got to stop your training." It's like, come on, man. Usually,
nobody even knows who he is over here.
but usually, all of the press tours are done before training camp even starts. Like Mayweather Pacquiao and Mayweather McGregor, they got all the press tours out of the way. And, you know, they didn't bother them when they were training. So usually the week of the fight, you do one press conference, you know, the day before the weigh-in or 2 days before the weigh-in, and that's it. Right. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, look, first of all, if I'm not mistaken, I just thought about this, but didn't Joshua fight in the Olympics in the UK?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So he won a gold medal in the UK. He got to fight like a long-reigning champion, even though he was dethroned by Tyson Fury, but nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
A guy who could have, like, Klitschko could have just said, "Well, look, man, 7 million or whatever it is, people watch me in Germany, and I sell out stadiums in Germany, so we should do it in Germany." You know, but like he's always gotten it in his backyard. Right, he got to fight in the Olympics in his backyard. He got to fight Klitschko in his backyard. His first title in his backyard. It's like he never wants to leave the UK under any circumstance at all. Doesn't that tell you that he's a little bit concerned about being out of his comfort zone?
Absolutely, and you know you're never gonna cross over and make the most money and be as big as you can, be the biggest star you can, unless you fight in the United States. Is that being a nationalist? No. all you got to do is Google the highest grossing fights of all time, and 20 of them are all United States-based fights.
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but it's going to add to your point, right? If Manny Pacquiao wanted to, could he sell out a stadium over there in the Philippines?
Absolutely.
But where does he usually fight?
United States.
The United States. Now, the only 2 times I remember him leaving the U.S. was because in those specific fights, the fights made better sense. One in Australia and the other one in China, right?
Yeah.
Right. They just, in those anecdotal situations, made more sense.
But do you know why? Do you know why the fight was in Australia, and do you know why the fight was in China?
Shoot.
There's one key component attached to that. They were in casinos. They were in casino-based arenas, with a casino area. Okay,
well, China was, but Australia as well.
I believe so. There's a casino right around the corner.
By the way, that fight was in a stadium, so I guess Horn should never leave Australia, right? I mean,
yeah,
this shit's insane. But you know, where does Gennady Golovkin could probably sell out a stadium in Kazakhstan if he wanted to.
Yeah,
you know, Lomachenko could probably sell out a stadium in the Ukraine or in Germany if he wanted to. You don't think so?
I believe he could.
Right, but there's a reason they're fighting here. In fact, how many times did the Klitschko brothers come to the U.S. to fight?
A lot.
And this is
where they had a contract with HBO. Yeah, they had a contract with HBO. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I believe Vitaly went to the Staples Center twice, I believe, against Arreola and Corey Sanders. I mean, Klitschko, I mean, he went to Madison Square Garden a couple times. He got 11,000 people there in a snowstorm, right? I mean, this idea that you can't make the fight happen in the U.S. is insane. Now, I understand. Look, it's a lot of people are going to say, well, that's very convenient to say because we're both from the U.S., right? But like you said, don't judge it by where we're from. Judge it by the merits of what we're saying.
Just look at the numbers.
Yeah, look at the numbers. 20 fights.
I don't care. You know, you could sit there and say, "Yeah, we're building something special over in the UK." That's great, and I respect that, and I don't mean any disrespect. But until you're selling pay-per-views for $80 a pop, and until you're selling ringside tickets for $10,000, you know, or $5,000 or $8,000, you're not gonna compete with the United States market. It's just different. We have 350 million people in the United States. There's 60 million people in the UK.
Right.
In Great Britain, it's a different ball game. It's a different economy. It's a different price point, and there's a reason why
it's not just
people
a different economy. It's the biggest economy in the world.
Exactly. So you can't compete with the biggest. Why is Eddie Hearn trying to sell an app to the United States boxing fans? Why is Eddie Hearn trying to sign American fighters? Why is Eddie Hearn trying to cross over? Why is Eddie Hearn trying to get his fighters on HBO and Showtime? Why? There's a reason for it, because he knows, he understands. I think at this point, Eddie Hearn knows that this is the best deal. I think this is all Joshua. Joshua is the one that just is very apprehensive about leaving the UK, and it just makes no sense. And like you said, how much more do you owe the UK people? You fought your whole career there,
right?
So and the biggest fight of your career was against Klitschko. You fought that fight there. Okay, and you know what's funny? That fight grossed $53 million, and that's the record for UK. What's the record for the United States? 600 million. What's second place? 510 million. What's third place? 150 million.
Yeah.
What's behind that? There's 10 fights that have done over $100 million in the United States. So and guess what fight has the record for the highest pay-per-view buys over in the UK? Guess what fight it is? It's not even
Mayweather, right?
Exactly. It's not even a UK fight with UK fighters in it. And and that just speaks to the fact that, I hate to say this, but they are more dedicated fans than we are. For them to stay up that late in the morning, so that fight, what the time was it? Like 12 o'clock Eastern time that fight came on, right?
Yeah.
So it had to have been 5 hours later. So 12 to 1, 2, 3. It's like 5 in the morning.
Well, it's the same thing. Look at the Haddon fight with Mayweather.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, Americans would never stay up to 5 in the morning to watch a boxing match. They just wouldn't. They would They would freaking probably try to DVR it, or if it was on pay-per-view, they just wouldn't buy it. So that's the thing. Like, people will be at bars in the United States watching this fight. They'll be over their friend's house. If you put the fight in the UK and you televise it at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, people will be working. People will be out doing things with their families. They'll be out doing errands. They won't watch the fight. It's just a bad time. Whereas the UK people are so much more dedicated than we are, that they would stay up to 5, 6 in the morning to watch a fight. We would never do that.
I mean, it's true. I mean, look, when I say we already got UK's money, you know what I mean, right?
Absolutely. That
money's already in the bag, regardless of where the fight happens. And what you need to tap into is the U.S. market if you want to make more money for this fight. That's just a reality. Okay, it's not by accident. Okay, that all the big fights happen in the U.S. In terms of the money made. That's not accidental.
Let's do the math. Okay, so if the fight is on Showtime pay-per-view, and it does 500,000 pay-per-view buys, and I'm being conservative, $80 a pop. That's 40 million right there. It does 1.5 million over in the UK, right? Mm-hmm. That's another 43 million right there. 43 million right there. So that's 83 million. Then you throw in the live gate, possibly of, let's be conservative, 20 million. Okay? There's your $100 million right there. Those are conservative numbers. Now, say the fight's not on pay-per-view and Showtime pays a $3 million fee to broadcasting fee to show it on Showtime.
Yeah.
So right there, you're losing $37 million, and then you put it in a stadium and the gate only does 12 million. So there you're losing another 8 million. Okay, and then add in the site fee. So do the math. And I'm being conservative with my projections and my numbers. Right. That's on the conservative end. It does 100 million easy. If it over exceeds expectations, it does 130 million, 140 million.
It's gonna make money. I mean, it's
are my numbers off the mark? Are they pretty much in the ballpark?
Let's put it this way, right? You already know the casinos in Vegas are gonna be competing for this fight, right?
Absolutely.
So they're gonna bid for it, and then whoever has the highest amount of money, it's gonna put up. They're just gonna put the money up, I mean, let me put it to you this way, right? When people really want a fight, people pay for it. So for those that don't remember, you remember when Jerry Jones was offering $20 million to have Mayweather Pacquiao at Cowboy Stadium?
You were breaking up a little bit. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Do you remember when Jerry Jones was offering money for the Mayweather Pacquiao fight?
Oh, you're breaking up. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can you hear you better now?
Do you remember when Jerry Jones was offering Pacquiao and Mayweather a bunch of money, to have the fight at Cowboy Stadium? Right. Now known as AT&T Stadium. Now, the only reason they didn't take it is because there was just more money in the casino, right?
He got outbid.
Jerry Jones, a billionaire, got outbid by a casino. And so that's what
exactly.
And the reason the casino, I mean, you know this, Joe, right? The reason the casino was able to put more money than Jerry Jones was because the casino was going to make that money back with the gambling. All right?
Gambling, the food too, the shows,
food, the drinks, merchandise, everything.
All the shops too they have in the casinos.
Yeah, the hotels, alcohol, you don't think, everything.
You don't think Floyd Mayweather's entourage, you don't think they were buying watches at the jewelry store in the casino and buying clothes at the casino? You don't think all those people were buying clothes and jewelry and food? We
haven't even got into the merch yet.
Not even the merchandise, the sponsors.
Those Joshua Wilder shirts over there in the gym are not going to come cheap. All right?
No.
Those Wilder Joshua caps aren't going to come cheap. I remember I went to a UFC event in freaking Phoenix, and they wanted to charge me like $40 for a T-shirt. Well, how much do you think these shirts are going to cost?
Yeah.
All right, so you got that, and then HBO. HBO and Showtime want this fight, so either they're both going to get it and pay for it, or one that's going to outbid the other by so much it's going to be an outrageous amount. Like that's just the reality.
It'll be on Showtime pay-per-view. It'll be on Showtime pay-per-view. And then it's just a no-brainer. And this has nothing to do with me being a nationalist or me being xenophobic or anything. The big thing is, this is a special event. This is good for the sport.
Now, this is the opposite of xenophobia. We want Joshua to come over here, and we want to give him money to come fight over here. And
if this fight is even remotely as entertaining as Joshua Klitschko was, which I believe it has to be because of these two styles, right?
Right.
Then both guys come out a winner. Both guys come out with their profiles in hand. Both guys become superstars after this fight. Both guys. Joshua becomes a name over in the United States.
Right, and that's the other thing. The upside, what you get in return, right, is unbelievable. That's what you get in return. Now when he does have a fight in the UK again, more people from the US are going to watch it, right? And imagine if he could become a pay-per-view star in the U.S.
And in order for him to cross over and be known to the American fans, he has to fight a big name opponent. So if he doesn't fight Wilder in the United States and he comes over and fights Big Baby Bear in the United States, that is a fight that no one is going to care about. That fight cannot appeal to casual fans. It's not going to cross over to regular sports fans like this fight would. This fight would get all people who don't even watch boxing interested in the fight. You can't just come over and fight any Tom, Dick, and Harry and expect to build a name. No, you got to come over and fight another name to enhance your name over here. Right. No one's going to care if he fights Big Baby Miller at Barclays. No one's going to care about that fight.
Just like when Haddon fought Collazo, it was okay, but it didn't make any big noise,
No.
Now when he fought, Mayweather, yeah, that made noise. This is just insane to me. And I did want to ask you this because look, I've been telling people for a while now that I think Joshua wins this fight. But
yeah, I picked Joshua to win the fight too.
But here's the but. Does he believe that?
That's the problem. I'm not 100. Like before, when this fight was first proposed,
right?
I was pretty confident Joshua would win. But the more time goes on, and how I've seen him against Carlos Takam and in the Parker fight, and how I've seen Wilder, I thought Wilder's victory over Luis Ortiz was more impressive than Anthony Joshua's victory over Vladimir Klitschko, because Luis Ortiz at that particular time, I think, in my opinion, and it's arguable, of course, was a more dangerous fighter than Vladimir Klitschko was, in my opinion.
Right. Well, Klitschko, he looks better on the resume, Yeah,
and in terms of name comparison, you can't compare Luis Ortiz and Vladimir Klitschko. In terms of legacy, there's no way you can compare the two. But at the particular time when Wilder fought Luis Ortiz, because no one was banging down the door to fight Luis Ortiz. A lot of people after Fury beat Klitschko were chomping at the bit to fight Klitschko.
Well, Haplotype just put, we're both wrong. He's going in like Spinks. Well, here's the thing, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, I don't know if scared is the right word, right? But I don't know if...
He's not confident. He's not confident.
Yeah, he's not... Like, he just talks differently about Wilder. Like, it's his demeanor is different. Like, everything about him just changes when it comes to Wilder. Like it's the conditions change, the talk changes, just everything. And I never heard somebody say, well, he's not that important to me, yet always talk about him. It's everywhere he goes, he gets asked about Wilder. Everywhere. Like he can't escape that name to save his life.
And Wilder doesn't care who the judges are because he firmly believes 100% that he's going to knock out Joshua. So now Joshua's worried about the judges. Like, didn't you say that you were going to knock him? Or didn't Eddie Hearn say that Joshua would knock out Wilder in 3 rounds? And now Joshua doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe he can knock out Wilder. He says he can knock Wilder's spark out, but he's worried about the judges. The guy just he just contradicts himself so much. He wants $50 million, but now he doesn't want $50 million. So which one is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I believe B-Hop had said this. You can't go into a fight if you're thinking about other things and not your opponent. Like when you're already thinking about the judges and all this shit, like you're already thinking about excuses. It's like there's something going on in Joshua's head. I don't know if he just doesn't want to take that chance. I just don't know what it is. I've always used this old example of the kicker that can kick a 45-yard field goal all day in practice, but when the pressure is on, and the game is on the line, and it's a playoff game, and your teammates are expecting you to make that field goal when that pressure is on, I think Joshua's feeling that pressure. I just think he looks uncomfortable when they bring up, Wilder. And then he says outrageous things.
Let me ask you another question, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm getting older now, so maybe my hearing's not the greatest, and maybe I don't remember things as well as I used to. But when he did say, offer me $50 million and I'll take the fight, do you recall him saying, "Oh, the fight offer me $50 million, but the fight has to be in the UK"? Do you remember him saying that? Was that part of the conditions? He just said, "Give me $50 million." right? And I'll take the fight.
Here's the
and
thing.
I'll give you 50-50.
In context, the 50 million. Look, when the argument was being made on Wilder's side that this is a $100 million fight, like I'm not going to take a $12.5 million, flat fee. Give me a percentage, right? That's how this started. And then but the argument that it's a $100 million fight was if the fight happens in the U.S., right? So when he was talking, and let's be 100% honest, it never occurred to him that they were going to call his bluff. It did not occur to him. I don't know if you feel the same way. Okay.
No, I agree 110%. I agree 110%.
He honestly felt this was such an outrageous amount that there's no way they were going to offer him this money. Okay. So he just, in a condescending way, said, "Oh, they think it's 100 million, right? They want 40%, right? Well, I'll tell you what. Give me 50 million. If it's worth 100 million, it's 50-50, okay? And then we can make the fight, right? And then they offer him they offer him the 50 million. First, it's a troll offer. It's not a real offer. And now it's okay, fine. It's a real offer, but we're not going to fight you anyway. If you're going to fight us, it's going to be in the UK."
Steven Espinoza was being interviewed all weekend, and one question he was asked was, "Is the $50 million for real?" And he confirmed that the $50 million is for real.
But why would Showtime executive just lie about that? You know?
And he doesn't have a. This is what I told people yesterday on our podcast.
He makes money no matter who wins.
Exactly. He doesn't have a dog in the race. He doesn't have it doesn't matter because he's got a contract with Joshua. He doesn't even have a contract with Wilder. He's like fight with Wilder. So he's vested in Joshua. So he's looking to re-sign Joshua. He's going to work aggressively, put an aggressive deal, forward to try to get Joshua to re-sign. Why would he lie? Why would he lie? You know what I'm saying? Why would he lie? He openly said the fight is significantly bigger if it's in the United States. He openly said they have the money. I can verify that. I know there's proof of funds. He said there is proof of funds. So what is it now? Now it's the referees. Now it's the judges.
Let's be honest, man. $50 million. Like, and we're talking about the referee. When everybody knows, right, that you can negotiate that. Like, everybody knows for a high-profile fight like this, both sides have to agree to the ref. Like,
Eddie Hearn knows. He knows for a fact, and he must have told Anthony Joshua this. The only way that $50 million guarantee is possible if it's in the United States. We cannot generate the amount of money to offer you a $50 million guarantee if the fight's in the UK.
Yeah, but they think that those 60,000 people in the arena are paying $10,000 a ticket or something.
But they're gonna get a $12 million gate with a 90,000 seat stadium.
I mean, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it makes 15 million on the gate.
15. Okay, we'll leave 15. Okay, we can do. We can do bare minimum 20 million, probably 25 million. But I'm being very conservative here.
Right.
Bare minimum with 16,000 seats or even 15,000 seats, we can do 20 million at the T-Mobile Arena.
Yes, we can. And that's on top of the site fee. On top of that.
The top of the site fee. That with Denzel Washington showing up, with Kobe Bryant showing up, with Shaq showing up, with Magic Johnson showing up. Okay? These people are going to pay big money for tickets.
Yeah.
Okay? Think about it. Mayweather Pacquiao.
And they're going to
$72 million gate. Okay? With 16,000 seats. Do the math. What's the average ticket price with that?
Right.
Right? Mayweather
Well,
McGregor, 15,000 seats, $52 million gate.
yeah.
Do the math. Canelo, Golovkin, $27 million gate,
Yes, sir.
16,000 seats. And they're selling 90,000 tickets and doing an $11.5 million gate for Klitschko Joshua, which is a record for them. That's their record.
Yeah.
The highest grossing fight in UK history. $53 million. You know what's number two? $31 million. Groves Froch 2. Come on, man. Okay, you want to, again, you like the crowd, you like the cheering. That's fine. Put your headphones in and just play a recording of cheering if that's the most important thing to you.
Right.
It just makes no. It just, if you are looking for the best deal, you're a promoter is supposed to make the best deal possible.
Yeah, honestly, was that not the bluff of the century though? The $50 million.
Oh, of course it was.
I mean, it's just, it's kind of like this, right? It's just, it wasn't that high profile of a story or anything, but maybe you remember. Do you remember when Lennox Lewis, they kept asking him over and over again if he'll come out of retirement? And he just jokingly said, give me $100 million and I'll come out of retirement.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Now he did say if somebody actually if somebody actually paid me $100 million, I would have came out and fought Klitschko, right? But he also said it was just my way of saying no, I'm not going to come out of retirement and fight.
Yeah.
This was Joshua's way of getting out of the fight, man. Like for anybody who doesn't see that, okay, I don't know what to tell you.
And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, right? But the worst type of setting to put a fight in terms of viewing enjoyment and viewing quality, the worst place you could ever put a fight is in a stadium. Stadiums are designed for football games and soccer games. They're not designed, and you know why they're designed for those types of sports? Because look how many people are on the field. There has to be in a stadium.
Look at the field of play, right? I don't know if people know that 20 by 20 is not that big in the middle of a football field.
Yeah,
20 by 20 feet, guys. That's the size of most people's living rooms.
Yeah,
that is insane. That is not that big of a space. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not against them doing. It's just like I said, it's like a European trend right now. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me because I'll be watching the fight on television anyways. So I'm not going to have the view of looking down at two ants like these people that are in the UK. Oh, great atmosphere, but you can't see you can't even enjoy the fight.
I mean, this is.
You don't even see the punches. You don't know what punches are landed and what punches aren't landed.
How do you score the fight? How do you come out and say, "Oh yeah, I think my guy won"? Like what?
Can I tell you something crazy? I think I told you.
The judges judge the fights from on top of the stadium. Some of these decisions. Yeah. But go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you. I think I told you this story before because I went to see Berto Ortiz live. Right, I was credentialed for that fight. That was one of the first fights I was credentialed for. Right.
Yeah.
And I was watching the fight live, and then I DVR'd it at my house. When I scored the fight live, I had the fight a draw. Then Dan Raphael had the fight a draw too. And then when I went home and watched it on the DVR, I scored it like 117, I think 117, 111 or something, or 115 or 112 or something like that for Ortiz. I had him winning by like four points at least, right? Yep. And that was it. And I had pretty decent seats. So imagine me seeing a different fight with pretty decent seats in live because of the viewing angles, not being able to see everything because when the fight is back is to you or what have you. So imagine me seeing something totally different with decent seats. Now imagine someone in a stadium trying to watch a fight. And then he's going to sit there and say, oh, this guy got robbed. How the fuck do you know? You couldn't see the punches landed. Fucking goofballs.
I mean, sometimes, like, when they throw, like, I go to a football game, sometimes you lose track of where the ball is. Because, you know, like, it's, like, you know, it's.
People are watching a football game. What do they have? They're using binoculars. You think I want to sit there watching a fight holding fucking binoculars?
Well, let me put it this way, because we were talking about the side feed. So,
yeah, go ahead.
This is what people don't understand, right? So, back before we had smartphones and laptops and smart TVs and HD quality televisions and hell, just televisions in general, okay?
Yeah.
Like, were you on when I was making the point about why Dempsey would fight in stadiums?
No, I didn't hear you.
Right. So I was practically saying back in those days, the gate was everything, right? That was the money. You know,
yeah, correct.
Dempsey, you know, that was the money, that and the gambling. Right?
What an excellent point that is, because there was no pay-per-view. What an excellent point.
So you wanted to maximize the amount of eyeballs that are going to watch that fight, okay? There's no way, if they had smartphones and TVs and all that shit, there's just no way they would go through the trouble of building a whole stadium for a Dempsey fight. Okay, right. It wouldn't have happened because millions of people would have watched the fight on their TVs. But in order to say, man, there was 100,000 people at the fight, that sounded very impressive in those days, okay? But now millions of people watch fights on TV, so it's not as impressive anymore. You know,
it's not exactly, and it's not as relevant anymore either in the big picture in terms of revenue.
It's kind of like the drive-in, you know? It's like, oh yeah,
that's an awesome.
I went to the drive-in. Man, back in my day, we would watch the fights at drive-in. See, I was at a drive-in, bro, and it was big. There was 10,000 cars at the drive-in. You know, or maybe that's too many, but let's say 500. There was 500 vehicles, cars at the drive-in. So what? Who cares? You know, it's times have passed. Like that's just not the way. That's just not as important anymore. If anything, is it not fair to say that they do the stadium thing more as for the atmosphere, as they say, than for just having more people to watch the fight?
Yeah. This is what I'm gonna say. This is to all you UK fans out there, and again, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not trying to insult you. But if you are a Joshua fan and you want Joshua to be the biggest fighter that he can be, the most popular fighter that he can be, you want this fight to be as big as it could be. You want this to be historic. You want this to be a special event. You want this to be going in the record books. Then you want this fight in the United States if you really care about, if you really are a Joshua fan. Because this will only make Joshua bigger. He can always come back to the UK. Always. This fight is a natural for a casino. Just like I told people, and I had this argument with people on my old show that I did, when they were talking about, oh, you know, this fight, the Pacquiao Mayweather should be in Dallas, the stadium where everyone could buy the tickets.
Right.
And I said,
remember when Bob Arum wanted to build a stadium?
Yeah. And I said the same thing. I said, you know what? Why are you going to put it in a stadium where people ain't going to be able to see the fight and the tickets are going to be dirt cheap? It's just not going to be the same thing. It's not going to be as big of an event. And lo and behold, they put it in Vegas. And what did they do? Think about that. $72 million live gate. That is like insane. I'm going to be so bold as to say that record will never be broken. Never.
Maybe not in our lifetime, no.
Not in my lifetime. I'll be long gone if that thing ever gets broken. You know?
Right.
72 million with 16,000 seats. And that's including giveaways and press passes and all that. 70 because Denzel Washington was there, Jack Nicholson was there, Shaq was there, Kobe Bryant was there, LeBron James was there, Mike Tyson was there, and I could just keep going down the list. Denzel Washington, all the actors, Matt Damon, everyone was there. Everyone was there, and guess what? I can guarantee you one thing: they weren't paying $50 for their tickets.
No,
they weren't paying $50 for their tickets. So if this fight's in the UK, all those people aren't showing up, and they're not going to pay the amount that they're not going to go over there. They're not going to go to the UK to see this fight. But if you put it in Vegas, they will be there.
I mean, that's just the reality.
Reality of the situation.
That's the reality of the situation. And people could say, "Oh, you guys are just being nationalists, and you're just doing this, you're just doing that."
I'm just using common sense. I'm using common sense. I used this example yesterday, okay? And I think you can relate to this because I think you're go ahead.
Just to your point, like it's not like just because Wilder's American. No. Like to me, the Baby Miller fight should be in the UK. Nobody.
Absolutely.
That fight wouldn't generate shit here. Nobody would care about it. So it has nothing to do with just by definition because he's American. No. That's not what it is, right? It just so happens that this is where all the big name fighters fight. But I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
All right. So what I was going to say is this is a perfect example. Like I've used Android phones all my life. You're pretty much an Android guy too, right?
Yes.
But if I said to you, hey man, Apple sells way more phones than Android, right? Mm-hmm. Apple's a way bigger company than Samsung, HTC. They're one of the largest companies in the world, man. I think you should invest in Apple. If you had a certain amount of money, you could only invest it in one company, and you had a choice to invest it in Apple or Samsung. I would tell you to invest it in Apple. And I don't even really like Apple products, but I cannot refute the fact that they are a bigger company and they generate more sales and revenue than Samsung does. Right? That's irrefutable. But that doesn't mean I'm an Apple person. I endorse Apple products because I'm not a big fan of Apple products. I don't think they're bad products, but they're just not good for me. They don't suit my needs. But I cannot refute the fact that they outsell Android, right? We have to concede that point. So it doesn't matter if you have to concede the point that it makes more sense for this fight to be over in the United States. It really does.
Appletype has a question. He thinks this is worse than Bo versus Lewis. So what do you think?
Yes, of course this is worse than Bo versus Lewis.
Is it too early to say?
No, I'm going to tell you why it's worse. Because you still had Tyson out there. You still had Holyfield out there. You still had Michael Moore out there. You still had George Foreman out there. The heavyweight, those guys had other options. Yeah. Lennox Lewis made more with Mike Tyson than he could have made when he fought Riddick Bowe. There was other options out there. The division was stacked back then. The division's not stacked anymore. It's just these two guys and Luis Ortiz and probably Alexander Povetkin or I don't know, Joseph Parker, like those guys.
Yeah.
And here's another thing too. The Povetkin fight is not a layup. It's not a gimme fight. We've seen both these guys in very tough positions, very vulnerable positions. Both guys looked like they were going to get knocked out in certain points, in certain fights.
Definitely.
Why? And this is a division where one punch changes everything. Why would you risk losing to a Povetkin or a Luis Ortiz or a Dillian White for far less money, and this fight goes out the window? Why would you risk that? Like that Povetkin fight, style-wise, is probably a tougher matchup for Joshua than Wilder is, style-wise. he had problems with the short guys, the guys that fight inside. Like I would still favor him to beat Povetkin, but it's not. It's I wouldn't be surprised if Povetkin beat him. Like, is it such a crazy thing to suggest that Povetkin could knock him out?
Well, people just have this like mentality that it's not going to happen, but these things happen,
I mean, a lot of people scored that Joseph Parker fight 7-5 for Joshua. Like I scored it 116 to 112 for Joshua, but a lot of people had that fight close.
Yeah, you keep delaying a fight, the inevitable is going to happen. So remember what happened with Juanma and Gamboa?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, Juanma, Gamboa, yeah.
Like every other fight, like Juanma looked ready to go, and he would like pull off a victory, and which is okay. If you're going to make this fight, now's the time and everybody thought, oh, there's no way Silito's not going to beat Juanma. Come on, and they kept playing this cat and mouse game, and then he got knocked out. So if you keep playing these games, eventually things are not going to go. These are grown ass men throwing punches in a boxing ring, and this is our heavyweights. Of course, division. One punch literally could just ruin this whole fight.
Absolutely,
if it lands in the sweet spot, and it's a wrap. So
without question, it's over.
Whether you think it's a 40% chance, a 10% chance, whatever it is, the chance is there. The time to make this fight is right now, and I've said it a million times. If it happens in the UK, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Like I'll take it, but everybody knows that the money is here, right? Anybody scoffing at this needs to understand, right? Especially you and I, babe. Okay, this is not our first rodeo, right? I think it's safe to say that we have a pretty good record. Okay, we have a good batting average and kind of gauging on what fight is going to be a big fight or not. Like we can it's when you watch this sport for so long, what fights, and when you hear whether it's celebrities or just people the way they talk about fights, the way it's brought up by people in the fight game, when a fight is going to generate something and it's going to generate a buzz, and this fight is going to generate a buzz. I'll put my channel's reputation on that. Like I have no worries about that whatsoever. Yeah. And like I've also said, even if we're wrong, right? Even if this fight does not make what we project it to make, the money is guaranteed. The $50 million is guaranteed. He's going to get paid anyway. So like this is what I don't understand. And anyone who wants to defend Hearn and Joshua at this point, all I have to say is you can't undo the video where Joshua said, "Give me $50 million and I'll fight you." Right? That cannot be undone. Right? Now, to Haplotype's point, because you did answer in terms of boxing, is it worse for boxing that this fight's not happening? Does it damage the sport more than, is it worse for the heavyweight division than Lewis? Both, but I think what Haplotype probably meant, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but was that is seen as like a low point in Bo's career, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. It was just seen as a very cowardly act, and he blatantly just ducked Lewis. I think that's what he meant. Like, is this worse than that in terms of turning down the $50 million you asked for and saying I'm not going to do it? Is it up there with Bo throwing the belt in the bin?
I'm going to say yes. Because if you offered Bo $50 million to fight Lennox Lewis at that particular time, he would have taken it.
Right.
There's no way.
You know what? If they offered him $25 million, he'd do it.
Yeah.
How much was he being offered? Do you know?
I can't remember.
Because I know I had to. I think Bo wanted a lot of money to take that risk, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think they felt as though that they could build that fight too, but I don't know, man. It was just crazy. It was crazy.
Man. All I gotta say is, if you want to watch something in a stadium, watch the opening ceremony to the Olympics or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
me when I want to watch a fight, because the last thing I want to ask you is, in your neck of the woods, what's the fight atmosphere? Whether it's a small little venue or an arena, what's it like at a boxing event where you go?
I mean, people cheer, people get excited. Am I going to say that every boxing event that I've been to, people stand up and do the wave? No. Do people sing songs? No. But it's a cultural thing.
Right.
Do people do like chant for 15 minutes on end? No. But it's a cultural thing. When the fight is good, do people cheer? Yeah. When a big punch is landed, do you hear oohs and ahs in the crowd? Yeah. Do you hear screaming and yelling when the action is hot and heavy and a guy's almost gonna get knocked down or he staggers? Yeah, absolutely. But again, I mean,
there's no action, right?
I don't need people to sing "There's only one Anthony Joshua" when I'm watching the fight. I don't need to be serenaded when I'm watching the fight. You know, and this is like, it's not going to add anything to the event. It's not going to make the fight more exciting to me. I'm 48 years. I'm 48 years old, man. Like, I don't get excited when I'm walking down the street and I see people lighting firecrackers and shit. When I was 10, I used to get, yo, wow. I'm not like stupid little shit like that doesn't excite me anymore. Like, I'm a grown man, you know. That's what I just like,
right. They got the fireworks too. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, fireworks and fucking the pyrotechnics and I don't know, man. To each his own. To each his own, but
the blaze of fires all over the ring. It's insane.
Yeah, I don't need that, man. I don't know.
I mean,
at first, I was in awe of that too because it was new. But then when you see it time and time again, and you say to yourself, "Yeah, this is great," but then you look at it, you look at the big picture. And you say to yourself, you know, can these guys even see the fight? Number one, and number two, what is the glamour in 90,000 people if you're only generating an $11.5 million gate, where we can generate double that with a third of what you have.
Right.
In terms of attendance. Imagine that.
Exactly.
I just can't get over it.
By the way, it's louder in an enclosed arena than in a stadium. I mean, that's just the reality. Okay, it just is. Have you ever been to a concert at a stadium?
Yeah.
The sound goes up, right? It doesn't contain the sound.
No, it does. No.
In an arena.
I prefer a concert in an arena way better. I saw the Monsters of Rock at Foxborough, where the Patriots play, in that stadium, and it wasn't the same. Wasn't the same.
Yeah, like, I'm just not impressed with the stadium thing, bro. Like,
I don't like stadiums.
Like, maybe if it was more rare, like, remember when they would do it once in a while in boxing, and it was okay, that's cool. Yeah. But now it's like all the time, man. It's like every other fight in the UK is in the stadium. You know,
the seats aren't even comfortable either, man. Oh, they're horrible.
Oh, at the UK stadiums.
At stadiums that I've been to, the seats are uncomfortable.
Right? Yeah. Like, it's all about an arena, man. Arenas are made for concerts. It's made for a boxing event. It's made for something enclosed and something up close, and it's also you're just closer to the action. You could hear the shots better. When I went to the Sunbow to watch Chavez Jr. fight, you couldn't even hear the punches. The sound was all going up. I mean, they had the mics there, hopefully, but in an arena, you could hear those body shots, man. You could hear it all. It's just a superior experience, you know.
I agree.
And it's not even close to me. And one way you know too, because it's like everybody knows, right? Wrestling, they always have WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
And even the wrestlers will tell you, like it's just not that loud in a stadium. The sound goes up, So sometimes they don't even know if they're doing the right thing or not. They're just hoping that the crowd's entertained because they just don't know, right? So like to me, it's just that's me. But give me your final thoughts, bro.
Well, we're gonna have to hear something at least by the end of next week because the clock is ticking. And I'm going to say one thing. If Eddie Hearn cannot put this fight together, and he's looking, if he can't put this fight together, and he's looking to enter the U.S. market in boxing and be successful,
right,
this is going to be a blemish on him, and it's going to be him getting off on the wrong foot, trying to invade the United States market and be a success here if he can't put this fight together. Because if you're an American fighter, you're going to say to yourself, hey, man, he couldn't even put this fight together. How much faith can I have in him to give me a mega fight, give me an important fight that I need? So this fight doesn't get made. It's a bad look for Eddie Hearn, and it's a bad look for Anthony Joshua.
And it's a bad look for boxing.
And for boxing.
I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's just casual fans thinking to themselves, like, really? A dude turned down $50 million? Like, what? That's why I don't watch boxing anymore. I could just hear people saying that now.
Yeah.
And one more final thought. There's wall-to-wall coverage in the media about the royal wedding. Do you care?
Not really. Not really.
Yeah, there was a royal baby born. Right, and they were talking about how the challenges of the prince and the princes, and how it's going to be so challenging for them to be parents.
I heard that, but I will say one thing. They do look like a really nice couple. They look good together. I have to say that.
I'm sure they're great people, but I don't care about anybody else's wedding. So that's
it kind of makes me sad a little bit to think that with all the stuff that's going on in the world, that that's looked upon as something special, and it should be special to the people involved in it. But I don't think it's an important event worldwide. It's not a really significant thing going on in the world. There's other more important matters to worry about than this wedding.
Yeah.
So
I mean, more people know about this wedding than Wilder Joshua. So there you go. We got to work on that, world. We got to work on that. All right, man. I want to thank you for coming on, taking time out of your day and all that.
No problem, man. Always good to talk to you again, man.
All right, for those that just came on, come back, listen to it on archive. This is DStyleBoxing. That's Joe Habib. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. That's my YouTube channel. Find me on Twitter at JHabib1. Find me on Facebook at Joe Habib. And Instagram at Joe Habib too as well. I'm always out there making videos. And also follow the Ringside Reporter podcast on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Every Sunday we do a show, recap the fights and break down the fights for the following week. So, yeah, just join us there, and keep in touch with me, man. I love talking about the sport. I like talking about a lot of things.
Definitely. All right, man. Peace out, everybody.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
Peace.